good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut. He need cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local and national Native news and events. And as you know, Haley, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you are right, Daga. This portion of the show is supported by Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon.
Yes, thank you, everybody that donates there. It's a big deal and really helps us out. Really helped us out during COVID when all our advertisers went away. And so I just want to give a big peeny-gigi to the people that have been with us and that are coming with us and that will be with us. Hey, Haley, there's a lot of stuff going on. We got the Timberwolves tonight. We got, we got things happening all over Turtle Island here. Got powwows at Prairie Island this weekend and Black River Falls to our
Leech Lake.
Really? And to our relatives out in Wisconsin. Check out the Black River Ho-Chunk, Black River Falls Ho-Chunk powwow. That's huge and it's fun and it's good. And, I just want to say this before we get into some other things, Haley, that are happening around Turtle Island. I just want to say Arvina Martin's going to be on, and we're going to have all Ho-Chunk cast and characters here for a while. And then we got to get Bob Lake from Red Lake in on here and talk about some happenings around Turtle Island with the solar energy and the solar bear with the solar news. But I just want to say this before we jump in, Haley, is that anyone can come to a powwow. Definitely come by and check it out. If you've never been to one, just be chill. Don't take pictures without asking people with regalia because we're not zoo animals. But come and join and, get out there with that, get out there and dance.
Yeah.
So
Well, just a good way to meet people and check out artists and vendors and support Native businesses.
Yeah, right on. The vendor part's really important. And I know we at Native Roots Arts have been at a couple powwows a year, and we're slimming down to just a couple a year in the state fair. And so we're really excited to be at powwows and see people all over Turtle Island. And I always like to bring up the fact too, just specifically in Madison or in Minneapolis. I must want to live in Madison. In Minneapolis, there's over 150 different tribes represented in the school district, and I thought that was kind of an amazing statistic that I did not know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think a lot of people probably don't know that because, when we talk about Minnesota tribes, it's like Ojibwe, Dakota, Ho-Chunk, but I don't know. I think we're talking students, but I think the people that identify as Native American, there's over 500 represented in Minneapolis, right?
Well, I don't know if there's the whole 500, but all across Turtle Island, there's just 535 or 71 recognized tribes, but we know there's more tribes in Turtle Island that aren't recognized or have been delisted over the years too. But that's another show. Hey, I learned so much here on Native Roots Radio, and that's why I love hosting the show, because I would not know that about Minneapolis, their native population. So that's pretty crazy. So what else we got going on here? I know we're going to have State Senator Mary Kunesh on tomorrow and get a big wrap up.
Friday.
What day is it, Haley?
It's Wednesday today.
Okay. Someday we're going to have State Senator Mary Kunesh on. No, I'm just kidding.
Tomorrow we're going to be back with hopefully Robert Lilligren of NACD. And then we're going to have Rachel back on from Strong Hearts Native Helpline.
Oh, that's awesome. And thanks for keeping things straight because, it's my birthday week, so I can't wait until Friday, so I'm pushing it up there.
I'm excited. Well, we've definitely entered Gemini season, so happy birthday to all the Geminis out there.
Yeah, we're two of the nice people you ever want to meet, but just don't mess with us. I
Two
hear.
Geminis?
Well, we're the twins.
Oh,
The sign of the twins.
nice. Two personalities.
Yeah, you gotta find out who you're working with, Haley. You gotta use the. Google.
I know you're a Gemini.
Use the Googles.
I know you're a Gemini.
Easy.
Do you want to start with do you want to start with like sponsor events and or do you want to talk about some film stuff? Because I know we're both really into film.
Yeah, I've only just about the film real quick. I've only seen the trailers, but I did see what you put in our chat about. I saw that on the news, 7-minute standing ovation for Kevin Costner, who, has really circled around the Native community for 30 some years. And with this Horizon movie too, I saw a couple flashes of some rushing Indians ready to fight.
Oh, yeah. Well, you have that exactly right, because I just watched the trailer too, like 10 minutes ago for the first time. But thank you. I want to shout out Indigenous TV. It's indigenous.tv on Instagram. They post all the time really great information about Native films and stuff. But this is what they posted. So Costner's Horizon, it's called Horizon in American Saga. And there's actually like 4 parts of it. I thought there was 2, but it sounds like there's 4. But this has Tatanka Means in it, and directed. It's a film by Kevin Costner, and 7-minute standing ovation at the Cannes Film Festival, which is pretty amazing. I feel like every film there gets long standing ovations. But again, this trailer, you can look it up. It's Horizon, an American Saga, and again just portrays natives as the bad guys attacking, I guess, colonizers coming in on the wagons back in the day. And again, they're like portrayed in the past tense with violence. And I don't know, I'm just kind of sick of these movies.
Well, it's a far cry from Kevin Costner, and as natives called it in the 90s, dancing with Kevin Costner instead of dancing with the wolves, because I love that movie for a lot of reasons, but other reasons I don't, because we always get the just like The Last Samurai, we got the white savior coming in and helping BIPOC people do their thing, and we've been here 10,000 years doing our thing, and we don't need any help. But
right, yeah. I mean, I don't know. That was the first time I saw the trailer, so it was like the whole wagon thing, and like the Indians are coming in on horse and like burning their little village down of colonizers. It's like, okay, like this happened.
It's funny. I thought I heard, and again, when you get my age, Haley, you don't know if you're dreaming things or hearing things or both. But I heard that a lot of this was shot on Kevin Costner's ranch.
Oh, no.
And he has a huge ranch, so that's kind of like, hey, Kevin, land back, buddy.
Yeah. No, that if you watch the trailer, like I said, like Horizon and American Saga, go look it up on YouTube right now. Well, later after the show.
Yeah, after the show.
I don't know. Land back, if that's a pretty big ranch, because it looked like they were out in, I don't know, like a national park or something.
Yeah, he owns a lot of that land, is what I heard. And what's really interesting is that, we'll have to see. I've seen some. I enjoy Dancing with the Wolves because, I didn't enjoy that it was 3 hours long, but I did enjoy watching it again just recently. I hadn't seen it in years, and it's well done. I like Kevin Costner's baseball movies because I'm a big baseball fan. So remains to be seen, but we are on the lookout for some bad Indians possibly being bad people because they're being removed from their land. I don't know.
Yeah, like, oh, okay. Like who wouldn't want that, but okay. Anyways, moving on. Let's talk about NAC. Native American Community Clinic has some really cool stuff going on. Tomorrow will be another full moon ceremony for Our Ladies. And that will be at the Little Earth Gym in Minneapolis at 8:30, so a little later in the evening tomorrow.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely. Hey, up next we got Arvina, and I'm glad we talked a little bit about the Horizon. We'll see what's going on with that, and I think you and I have the same movie taste, so maybe we should go together
Ooh, that'd be fun.
and do a movie show.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, we'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. And we're going to have Arvina on. Oh, wow.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hi, I'm Chuck Manette, owner of Native Concrete and Masonry. With concrete and masonry adding substantial value to your home, it's always a great idea to repair your sidewalks or just add a beautiful new patio. Cracks or heaving in your sidewalks due to tree roots can be dangerous. Native Concrete and Masonry has helped clients across the metro to make their outdoor space safer and helped increase the value to their homes. For patios, sidewalks, driveways, or garage slabs, go to nativeconcretemasonry.com.
Attention, Native American community. As we prepare for American Indian Celebration Month in Minnesota this May, it's essential to prioritize the health and safety of our communities. With social gatherings and festivities on the horizon, getting vaccinated against COVID-19 is crucial. So let's make getting vaccinated a tradition, inclusive, and cross-generational. Imagine gatherings filled with shared stories and cultural celebrations free from the shadow of COVID-19. Remember, protecting yourself and others is what counts. Whether it's time for an updated vaccine or your first shot, all COVID-19 vaccines offer protection, with the latest vaccine especially recommended for our elders over 65. As we gather with friends and relatives this May for American Indian Celebration Month, let's ensure everyone's safety by getting vaccinated. Together, we can uphold our traditions and keep our communities thriving. For more information, including details about clinics offering free vaccines, visit vaccines.gov. This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. We have all Ho-Chunk show again, and we're always love to do that. Our friend Arvina Martin, executive director of help me out here. She just changed
Emerge Wisconsin.
Yes, thank you. I was just testing you guys, and Wendy promised to put me in a good home, so you guys make sure that happens when Alzheimer's hits, because I won't know. I won't know the difference.
Yeah.
Shoot, Arvina, welcome, and we
Thank
always
you.
love having you on, talking about everything about your work and what's happening in Wisconsin and nationally. So I just really enjoy having you on, and I always feel like our listeners do, and have told me, feel some great energy coming from Wisconsin with Arvina Martin. Ho-wah.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
One of the things I want to get Kristen on, my friend Kristen, who I work with, to talk about the Code Talkers Highway, which is happening here in Wisconsin, and we're really excited about that, and I can't wait to get more information about that. But the nation, meaning the Ho-Chunk Nation's really been behind this, and it's going to be a good thing. And I hear it's going to be bilingual too.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly which highway it is, but there is a highway in Wisconsin that is going to be named in honor of the Ho-Chunk Code Talkers from World War II. I know Kristen White Eagle, and I believe it was Sandra Winishik did a lot of work to bring up the issue of naming this stretch of highway after our warriors and our code talkers from World War II, and that Governor Evers had actually been present to make the proclamation and dedicate the highway. And from what I understand, that this is the only stretch of highway in Wisconsin that honors any Native person or people.
Yeah, Kristen really worked hard with it. And I know Shelby Byzantine was there too, helping her out. My friend Shelby, and I just got to give those guys a big shout out. And I know Kristen listens to the show quite often.
And Shelby's my rep.
Oh,
yeah.
Right on. Well, I might be your rep someday here too if they redistrict. Oh, that's a whole nother show. Let's get on.
Yeah. I feel like all I've been talking about lately is redistricting, so I need a break from it.
Me
10
too.
years.
Yeah, me too. Well, it last time it happened was 2018, so we're really moving forward kind of too fast for us here in District 4, but that's a whole nother show, and maybe I'd have to be anonymous when I talk about that. But yeah, you know, that's such exciting news to be acknowledged. And, you know, here in Minnesota, we don't have any of that right now. I know there's talk about it, but we do have cannabis, so I'm excited about that. And
you get one, you don't have the other, you know. And Wisconsin remains the cannabis-free zone, unfortunately, for a lot of people, you know.
Yeah,
we don't get
I know
that medicine here.
Well, and the more and more we find out, at least me, because I'm a novice, and I wasn't a novice when I was a teenager, don't get me wrong, but I've been sober for 40 years. So hearing all the good things that cannabis does for people with anxiety, it's a medical miracle for a lot of people, whether they're going through chemotherapy, PTS, post-traumatic stress disorder, those kind of things. I have to really think in my own terms that what's good for other people, as long as they're not abusing it, is a good thing, you know?
Yeah, even the way that cannabis and marijuana is classified currently makes it really hard for medical researchers to do that actual research to see all of the things that this plant can do for people. You know, I know people who have had to use it for keeping nausea down while going through chemotherapy. There are a lot of people that use it for pain relief, and understanding what strains do what and how it can help people is it's really a shame that we don't have a ton of research on this, because it is classified as a Schedule 1 drug, which means that it, is classified as having no medicinal purpose. So I'm actually really excited and really happy that President Biden is moving marijuana down from Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 drug, because currently it's ranked as more dangerous than drugs like fentanyl.
You know, Haley, I am always so happy to have Arvina on, because one, Arvina is super smart, and you're really plugged in, and you speak very well. And I couldn't have said that any better, that last portion, Haley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I can say too.
Good response. Hey, we're on radio, darn it.
I know. I'll be honest here with our listeners.
No.
So no. Okay.
No, go ahead. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Well, I've been using medical marijuana for the past year for complex PTSD, as well as fibromyalgia, which is actually chronic nerve damage. And oh my gosh, I would just have to say that my quality of life has improved greatly. Even just with mental health disorders, and honestly too, that's the main reason why I'm over a year sober of alcohol and nicotine, is because of the help of medical marijuana with my other symptoms.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, I deal with chronic pain as well, and I have endometriosis. I have a back injury, unrelated to roller derby. It's important to state that it's a back injury unrelated to roller derby, and you don't want to start using things like a Vicodin or Percocets or those just the addiction, like the level of like the chances of you becoming addicted using those drugs as prescribed is it's not zero. And to have something that can help with chronic pain or things dealing for your complex PTSD, these are things that are truly lifesavers for people. I'm anxiously awaiting this change and to a Schedule 3 drug, because that means that folks can do this research. And I think people are starting to open up to some of these alternative kinds of treatment and looking for research on things like using marijuana for various issues, as well as using psychedelics to help with a lot of PTSD, or ketamine use for a very, very I do want to make sure that this is like all under doctor, supervision. Ketamine for depression is showing a lot of positive results for people that have depression that is not managed by medication, like standard medication, that the SSRIs, et cetera. And for people living with these conditions, again, I mean, Haley can speak to it, the difference that it makes in your everyday life, and it makes you be able to function like everybody else. And we need to be doing this research.
Yeah. Arvina, I know you're super smart, and I always think of the history of when in the 30s, cannabis and hemp were like hemp especially was one of the big crops in making ropes and all these things, and jeans and things before World War II. Yeah. And what did we have a shortage of when with the pandemic? It was paper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many things that we could potentially get from this plant that could, I mean, if we're using hemp to make paper, what impact does that have on our environment? That means that we're not chopping down trees for paper. I'm not entirely sure. Like, I don't know of the research or how that goes, but these are give us alternatives that are better for our bodies, and give us alternatives that are better for our earth, to be able to, just kind of go on with how we live our lives here, as human beings in the 21st century.
Yeah, good call. And I know we got less than a minute, but I just want to say I've been doing a lot of research with this on my job, and it's going to be $1 trillion business. And when you plant marijuana, hemp especially, I'm talking about right now, around places where the water's dirty, it cleans it up. And, we have this, what is that called, Haley? PFAS or PFAS all over the place now. And that cleans that up. So let's start growing it, throwing those seeds out, and like the 70s and 60s. Oh, wow. Hey, we'll be right back after this short break. This is Native Roots Radio.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awakened. This is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
They sure do. Hey, we're here with Arvina Martin, and she is the executive, and I've been corrected a couple times here by my producer, so I have to make sure I write this down and get it right. Executive Director of Emerge Wisconsin. Correct, Haley?
Yeah, good job.
One in a row.
You got it.
Right on. Hey, we had a scary orange guy here last week, and he claimed that he won Minnesota by 7 points, and everyone cheered. and he lost by 7 points. And he also said he'd never come to the state again if he lost it. So what kind of reality? Am I in the upside down world? And I always have to ask Haley too. I don't know if I've dreamt something or if it really happened. I know this really happened.
I mean, we are living in surreal times, it seems. And, making up numbers and making up wins and losses, that takes a lot of something, I don't know, to just come out and say that black is white and white is black. I mean, we have numbers, and I as someone who has worked in voter protection, I know that voter fraud is very rare. It's really hard to do. It's really hard to to first of all fake vote or to have someone try to stuff ballots, etc. It's really hard, and the punishment is really severe. I mean, one could claim to, I don't know, use an absentee ballot for someone who had passed. That's just one vote, and the punishment is so severe that why take that chance? It's just, it doesn't happen on any kind of grand scale that the Trump campaign alleges is happening. I mean, we have had years and years now of people going over all of these election results in so many states, and nobody's coming up with anything. Very little, maybe 5 or 6 people that voted when they shouldn't have, or maybe they were felons, and or something like that. And that something, and usually it's inadvertent, and not anything nefarious. So it's wild, and it's wild that there are people that are willing to believe these demonstrably false accusations and roll with it. It blows my mind.
Well, what's crazy too is that I think the last election, the people that were doing voter fraud, like you said, only a few people, they were all Republicans,
right?
So that blew my mind even more. I got to say this, I got to get dark here a little bit. We are blessed to be on AM 950 in the Twin Cities, and then Civic Media and all these other stations across Wisconsin and Michigan and Illinois. But I got to say, the press is not doing a good job. They are amplifying fake news and trying to be in the middle, and not seem like they're too much for Biden or whatever. And in the meantime, they're spewing out whenever he gets out of his little courthouse, they play that every time, and he spews out a few lies there, and that he's being picked on, and that he doesn't know why he's there. And they're legitimizing it, and it makes me sick.
I mean, media requires engagement and clicks to survive, and people aren't clicking on links or email or news stories that are saying what's actually happening, and things that get more egregious and more outlandish are what people look at, and unfortunately it seems that there are many media outlets that are looking for those clicks instead of looking to provide a service for the American people and keeping them informed. And that, is a huge problem. And I think it has a hugely detrimental effect to our democracy, to get down to it, and anybody who has a microphone can start a podcast, record a podcast and
or a radio show.
Yeah. Or and put whatever information out there they want. I mean, there were still people within the last year trying to say that John F. K. Jr. was alive and that he was going to run for president or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but come on.
I do remember that. Man. Well, I mean, I don't know if you're old enough to remember this, but I remember Gary Hart being on the National Enquirer where a girl was sitting on his lap and that was it. That was
Yep.
his presidency was over that day that magazine came out. And then what
Yeah.
was his name who ran he wooed too loud and freaked people out and what the heck was
Howard
his name?
Dean.
Who's that?
Howard Dean.
Yes,
He's the former
yes.
governor of Vermont, and
He
he was a
screamed-
former DNC chair.
And he went, woo, really loud after he won. And that was the end of his campaign. But now we got a rapist and somebody that's been indicted with 91 counts against him.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. And it's like, it still boggles my mind sometimes. Like, I don't understand. But I think with the Trump trial too, we get to see how a media outlet that does kind of the paid for play kind of journalism, where they pay for stories. I mean, we see how a tabloid rag like that makes their news and how they decide what they're going to publish. And they were doing it specifically to help Donald Trump win his presidency. And that's not how media outlets should be I mean, I feel like it's such a violation of trust of what, the press is supposed to be.
Right.
And in our ideal world of just making sure that people have accurate information, that news is reported as it happens, and what is reported is what happened. That there's no embellishing or trying to put like what's the word I'm looking for? Put a slant on it, so to say. Yeah, news shouldn't have an agenda,
Right.
and we're finding that there are outlets and tabloids like the Inquirer that don't think that way.
Or Fox News, which was sued.
What was that?
And Fox News, which was sued big time because of their fake news about voting machines.
Yes. And you'll notice that at least the people that were making those big claims about Dominion voting machines aren't on the air anymore, because it finally affected Fox's bottom line. And they have to pay millions of dollars because of defamation, because they defamed this company that didn't do anything wrong, that has been acting in good faith, and was needlessly and completely attacked, and that kind of, throwing those kind of accusations around, specifically to make people mistrust the election process, is vile. It just
so
is.
are we ever going to be able to, and I don't know, you can help me with this, and I don't want to be a blanket statement like this, but the Democrats seem like they're hard. It's hard for them to get the message out, because if you look at what Biden's done in 3 years or 4 years, he's probably the best president in my lifetime, and all the things he's gotten done and all the native things that have happened and all the medical things and, bringing down prices. And, what's wrong with the economy is we have these big companies that are gouging us.
Yeah. And I mean, it can be argued that we have gotten the most progressive policies in quite a while. Maybe even since like FDR that
I wasn't born then.
Yeah,
I wasn't
that have
born
been
then.
put into
No.
place. I mean, when he was giving, we were getting those like stimulus kind of checks, and to people that had small children, that program and that direct money going to families with children brought more families with children out of poverty than any other legislation ever. I mean, it's actually remarkable. A lot of things that that the president has accomplished, with a lot, with opposition, sometimes, but people don't click on those positive stories, and nobody wants to read how like the Dow Jones is the highest. It's at like 40,000 ish right now, and 4 years ago it was around 12.
I'm old enough to remember people saying it would never go over 10,000. And it's at 40,000 now.
Right. And so, you know, a lot of the things that are making people's lives better are just going under the radar because they're not necessarily being covered. I mean, you can put out your press releases and pitch stories as much as you want, but if nobody's going to publish them, you know, you just like, we all need to start sharing more information of the positive things that have happened in this administration, because there has been quite a bit. I mean, if we're talking about the changing, you know, his policy regarding marijuana, go back to the last segment, you know, not only is he allowing for more research to be done, medical research on this plant, but he's also trying to like vacate or get folks out of prison who were arrested and then convicted of simple marijuana possession. And you know, that affects so many people in our communities.
Big time. And,
deal.
you know, that 3 strikes, you're out really messed us up. And, you know, that was from, I'll say it here, the Clinton administration that started that. And that's a legacy that I don't like that Bill Clinton had. But Arvina, you know, we only have a minute left, and how can we get you on twice a week? Because this goes by so fast, and you are so seriously, Haley. I think
emails.
Haley, I think you know, we got one of our best guests on that we really get fired up and talk. I just want to say one thing, Arvina, is that we outnumber them, and we have to keep talking, and that's about these things and talking to everybody that's out there that is listening, our new voters and people like that. So it's so important what the knowledge you bring here.
And we've got to get those people engaged and bring them to the polls and bring, you know, you go vote, you make sure 3 of your friends are going to vote too. And they make sure that 3 of their friends are going to vote, because we need, it's all about turnout. We need to make sure that we can't be complacent. We've got to go and cast our ballots and make sure that we get there and actually do the thing so that, you know, we prevent all of the damage that a second Trump administration would bring.
Well, we'll leave it at that. Arvina Martin, Peeny Gigi, thank you so much for being on the show, as always.
Peeny Gigi, we too, both of you. Thank you so much.
We'll be right back with Bob Blake from Red Lake and the Solar Bear with the Solar News.
Signing up for $1 bus and train rides with the Transit Assistance Program, or TAP, is quick and easy. Do it straight from your computer or phone by uploading one of the pre-approved documents listed at metrotransit.org/TAP along with a copy of your ID. We'll mail you a go-to card with a full year of discounted rides. For questions or translation help, call 612-373-3333. That's 612-373-3333.
Dive into a world where tradition meets innovation, satire meets symbolism, and Native American art takes center stage. All My Relations Arts and the Native American Community Development Institute proudly unveil Alternative by Frank Buffalo Hyde. Alternative is an electrifying exhibition that uses satire to push boundaries and demand a closer look at the vibrant complexities of Native identity in today's world. So embrace the unexpected and challenge norms with Alternative by Frank Buffalo Hyde, showing now at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis.
As we gear up for American Indian Celebration Month in May, it's crucial to prioritize our health, especially with celebrations on the horizon. If you start feeling off, like a fever, a tickle in the throat, or heavy fatigue, don't ignore it. Take an at-home COVID-19 test right away. And remember, if you're not feeling well, it's okay to stay home. Your health comes first. A quick note on COVID testing. The Minnesota Department of Health's free COVID-19 at-home testing program has ended. But don't worry. If you're uninsured, you can still find no-cost tests using the CDC's COVID-19 testing locator. If you have health insurance, you might be eligible for free tests or reimbursement for testing expenses. Just ask your local pharmacy or health insurance provider for more information. Stay informed. Stay protected. Let's prioritize our health this American Indian Celebration Month in May and ensure our communities and elders remain safe and healthy. This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health. Visit health.state.mn.us.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Oh, that was good one. Good one. Oh, hey, look at that. That thing is glowing. That the Timberwolves here. We got Bob Blake with the update on the sports tonight. And you're going to the game, and you got a ticket for me, I hear.
I don't have it. I don't have tickets tonight, but I'm actually gonna go to the gym. But I'm gonna be checking out the game while I'm at the gym, so I'll be watching the game.
Well, remember what
I'm getting healthy, Robert.
Remember what Arnold said: "Live big to be big." Oh wow!
Hey, speaking of big, Robert, this is some really, really good news. And I got to talk about it because I think this is huge. In the United States has reached 5 million solar installations across the country. Yeah.
Wow.
That's huge, Robert. Because to take that into context, that is, we're talking, rooftops, across, utility scale projects, 5 million. I was with Ralph Jacobson the other day, and he started doing solar in 1990. This guy started installing solar in the state of Minnesota in 1990. And to give you some context there, for a solar installation back then, that we could do now for, let's just say $8,000, $10,000, it would have cost Ralph like $150,000 probably to do that project. It was so expensive, you know what I mean? But, how far this industry has come, and the market, and when you look at the statistics of Republicans and Democrats, 70% of both Republicans and Democrats agree on more renewable energy. This is an issue that goes over political lines. And as a matter of fact, Robert, when we're talking about these 5 million installations, Florida and Texas are leading the country, 2 Republican states.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. And I think what the big thing here is for everyone to kind of put their heads around is that, cheap energy, is the catalyst for world leadership. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And I think when we start thinking about, all the geopolitical events happening in this world right now, and I'm sure we can name a bunch right now, especially with the conflicts happening, both in the Middle East and Europe.
Right.
We know that, in order for the United States to continue to do, the work that expanding democracy across the world, that, cheap energy is really going to have to drive that. You know what I mean? So that's why renewable energy is so important, so democratic, everyone.
Well, that's why it's great to have the Solar Bear with the Solar News. I got a question for you. I don't know. Do you know the term yellow Volkswagen syndrome? You see a yellow Volkswagen, and then all of a sudden you see them all over. Well, yes. I've been seeing Elon Musk, who I cannot stand at all. I've seen Teslas everywhere, and it's unbelievable. So there must be that still has that $15,000 tax break for these kind of cars, right?
Absolutely, Robert. When we think about any type of this is the invisible hand of the market, right? But sometimes the invisible hand of market economics, Robert, needs to have a little push. And that's where the federal government comes involved and state government comes involved. Government does its job. And what those incentives have done is it really has catapulted individuals to start moving into this direction, because they start doing the math and are saying, wow, owning an electric vehicle is a lot more cost effective than owning a engine combustion, vehicle. And so that's what we're really seeing. And consequently, that is pushing the technology makers, the entrepreneurs, to come out with new types of, inventions, around battery technology, and vehicles. I just read an article today that talked about, Toyota is like coming out with these new batteries that are going to charge in like 5 minutes. That will give you like 400 miles or something. It's ridiculous what the technology that they're coming out with. So, and that's gonna multiply throughout the industry. So, folks, if you thought that electric vehicles had no future, I'm here to tell you right now, the Solar Bear is saying it right now in the Solar News. You're going to see just about every vehicle is going to be electric.
Well, I got to get one of those charging systems you got going all over the country into my front yard here, so I can get one of those bad boys and charge her up.
Yes. So a lot of the electric vehicle charging stations are going. You know what's really cool, Robert? They have like the lamps, or the street lights that we see out there. Mm-hmm. Those are turning into chargers. So it's a street light with a charger in it. Wow. So how about that, right?
That makes sense.
If you live in an apartment, like your street light lamp is going to have like a EV charger in it. I think it's so cool,
Yeah, definitely. Wow. So do you know if that incentive, because I know you got a new car recently, is that incentive still out there, the $15,000 or $10,000 for these cars?
Yes, it is. And everyone, the Solar Bear just got his information back from the state of Minnesota. I had to apply for a supplier portal, to be able to get the check from the state. But my check's going to be coming in the next 30 to 45 days from the state of Minnesota. And I got the check and I got the rebate from the feds, like at the dealership. So,
so we can go to the casino and double that. Let's go to and double that.
Exactly. We could go to the casino and double it. Get some buffet passes. Hey, Robert, one really interesting story, though, out here. Minnesota advocates push for pause on utility shutoffs after study reveals racial disparities. Now, I just want to talk about this real quick, because I think I was on the equity group for Xcel Energy, and these were a lot of the issues that we were dealing with in this group. But there has been a lot of these situations where folks from lower income communities were being disproportionately targeted in having their utilities shut off. But I just want to say that through this group, we were looking at different ways to handle this. So I want to say that on this story right here, there's been some really good work that's been done on this. So I just want to share that with everybody. And that's the Solar News with the Solar Bear.
Hey, let's do a quick howling for wolves for the Timberwolves howl. 1, 2, 3. Well, this is Native Roots Radio. We'll be back tomorrow.
Free Leonard Peltier now.
Imawi, imapesi, neigaya.